Hello. There, in Zodiac World, by a farmyard, is a stream that runs down to the Sea of Time. And one bright spring day, an egg in one of the farmyard nests began to shake. It was getting ready for hatching. All of a sudden, Aries burst out, running at full speed across the yard. Poor old Aries, dashing out premature. He hadn't got feathers yet, and his legs were a bit wobbly. It looked like he'd forgotten to put his clothes on, and he was in such a hurry. He had a lot of courage dashing out like that, but there were some things he hadn't learned he just couldn't do. Yet. All of a sudden, it dawned on him. Well, it dawned on his legs, actually. They gave way and he fell over. And he did look such a fool, lying there screaming and howling. After all, it wasn't his fault. He didn't know. Mum came over to dry his tears, and in time, his legs got stronger. In fact, he grew into quite a well-built baby, ginormous. He always ate all of his dinner. Mum was so proud. He often helped after Mum, and hardly ever lost his temper. Taurus became so big that he even slowed down. And you love the good things in life. And after all, it was his life, and his mum loved him. He loved the family cat and his peace and quiet too, except, of course, when his favourite music was playing. And Taurus was disturbed one day by the noise of his brothers and sisters, and this got him to start thinking. Gemini, he said to himself, you've got to find out where you fit into all this. Am I the eldest or the youngest? And where does cousin fit in? So Gemini went all around the nest, making a mental checklist of everybody's names, and the ones he couldn't remember, he asked of them, of course. And Gemini, he thought, this is also confusing. I am myself, and yet I have to fit in with everybody, and they have to fit in with me. So Gemini climbed out of the nest and wandered around the neighbourhood, talking all the time. He talked to his friends and neighbours, the postman, even to himself. And as the early evening sun began to set, he began to get tired, so, feeling a bit on edge and still none the wiser, Cancer climbed back into the nest and snuggled up to Mum. And Mum was so nice and warm, and so loving. Good cook too. Everybody loved her gingerbreads and jams, and the kids could do no wrong in her eyes. Some would say that Leo's mum loved him too much, and the idea kind of stuck. As Leo grew older, he became more adventurous, mixing and playing with young people from all over the valley. Leo was very popular, especially with his bright colours and beautiful hair. He shined so bright, no one could fail to notice him. He loved being appreciated for what he could do, so he was always creating something. And one day, however, he created a right merry scene. It was his birthday, and Leo was proud as a peacock. It was the height of summer, and everyone had come to his party. Leo was the centre of attention. He loved the limelight. He started overdoing it, though, boasting about his beautiful presence and his beautiful self. After all, it was his special Sunday. It was all a bit too much for one of his more direct friends, and she told him so. Ouch. His pride was hurt. He was only trying to shine. He just turned round and walked out of the party, and with an air of dignity, quietly walked back to the nest and sat down on the doorstep, feeling as if someone had trodden his toes. He started to think about where he fitted in again. Virgo was older now, and settled down to some serious thinking. He so much wanted to get it all right. Life can be so confusing. He confused himself in a way, and at last he got himself sorted out. He was going to show them all. I'll get my own nest, he thought, and I'll work jolly hard for it too. He had a big heart, really, so to regain his honour and respect, he decided to find a job that would help other people. And with that thought, Virgo went indoors to bed. Virgo did work hard, and in time he had his own special nest. He picked just the right place on a mountain near the edge of the valley. And Virgo filled it with all the things he loved so much, and he kept it spotlessly clean. It was good to reap the harvest of his efforts. And one day, a whole new experience happened to Virgo while he was at work. A new employee joined the company, and Libra fell in love. The romance blossomed, and soon enough they were married. At first they were slow to adjust to married life, but as they compromised their differences, the love between them grew into a mutual understanding. The relationship was based on equal terms, and Libra's nest became a showpiece for the best of both of their acquired tastes. On one particular night, as they lay together, a lot of emotion welled up in Libra. He thought, how can such beauty touch me so much? And the passion in his heart almost seemed to overwhelm him. A lot of questions puzzled Scorpio as he lay quietly thinking that night. Was it fate that he had met her? The deepest questions penetrated his mind. Where did it all fit in? Why am I here? How can people and life be so beautiful and yet so cruel? Why? And with a far-off memory deep in the back of his mind of a place and a time where there was no pain, tiredness crept up on him, and Scorpio fell into a deep, deep sleep. Scorpio always followed his intuition. And after all, you have to follow your instincts in such a dangerous world, don't you? Anyway, first thing in the morning, he leapt out of bed, put on his walking shoes, picked up his staff and bag and flung open the door, and the pale morning sun lit his face and the golden floor of the valley. It was a breathtaking sight. He knew the valley and all of its ways very well, so the answer to his questions must lie elsewhere. And with a grin and a chirpy whistle, Sagittarius strolled off down into the valley with the confidence and inner contentment of someone about to find what he was looking for. He felt great. Sagittarius climbed the far edge of the valley, his heart beating. He finally reached the top and saw another valley and another horizon, and with a shout of delight and glee in his heart, he set off to explore this new land of adventure. He learned much on his travels and spoke to many wise and not so wise people. One thing he learned, that was beyond every horizon lies another horizon, and life for Sagittarius became a big fun jigsaw puzzle, and he couldn't rest until he gathered all the pieces and clicked them all together. He noticed patterns within life and nature and all the different cultures and peoples of the world, and he came to realize that there is a beautiful divine creative force present in everyone and everything. He called it love. Soon enough, it was time for Sagittarius to return home to his wife and growing family. His bones getting weary now, Capricorn at last entered his valley and looked up with pride at his magnificent nest, perched securely on top of his mountain. Slowly and deftly, he climbed his way to the top. He was home. It was good to rest his weary body by the fire, after the traditional homely meal, of course. He told the children of all that lay in the valleys beyond, and gave them strict warnings of some of their perils. The evils in the outer valleys had hardened his heart, and even that night he had heard rumours that a shadow now hung over his own snow-white valley. He sat by the fire one long winter's night, thinking of the beauties of the world, still puzzled at what it was all for, anyway. And it was no good. He had to try to find out. Again. And this time he did not wait until morning. His mind flashing from one thought to another, Aquarius quietly floated out of the nest into the midnight air. It explored everywhere in Zodiac world bar one place, the tallest mountain that lay behind his own. And it was all so beautiful. Upon reaching the summit, Aquarius took a gasp at the thin mountain air, and he could see everything beneath him. The vales, the rivers, the forest protecting the villages nestling in their little hills. He could see everyone rushing around in their time-honoured ways. But why, oh why, were they hurting each other? He'd searched every valley to find the answer, and even now, looking down on the whole of Zodiac world, he still did not know. And there was only one place left to look. And Aquarius lifted his head and looked up into the midnight sky, and there was the moon, white and beautiful, nestling in a million stars. And it all seemed so wonderful to Aquarius. The stars looked like a mirror of all that was below. And the shooting stars suddenly burst into a rainbow of colours, and as the starlight rained down over him, he felt the love of heaven fill his heart. And there he was, so small, and yet a part of all that was. He loved everything and everyone and all of creation. And the emotions seemed to cleanse his soul, this unselfish heavenly love washing over him like rain. And the rain carried the love of Pisces down the mountain to the world below, seeping into the soil, giving life to the new shoots of spring. And the loving waters of Pisces healed all that it touched, and eventually found a stream that was on its way down to the Sea of Time. And on the way there, it passed the farmyard, where there was an egg.